an important video. The reason why I say that, in the self-defense community, there's all the escalation of force continuums, and when you really break it all down, it just simply applies with the situation that you're in. Okay? Now I said that, there's also a de-escalation of force that nobody talks about. Okay, now I've said that, realistically, the best thing that you can do is, yes, you want to bring as much as you can to the fight in the shortest amount of time possible. This and this is based on the fact of your opponent doesn't expect to happen what happens. Okay? Your opponent, your assailant, will expect you to possibly fight back a little bit, but he's not going to expect somebody to whip out a couple of knives and just turn into a windmill and actually know what they're doing. Okay? Now that we've said that, if you do find yourself in that situation, and if your assailant does come at you and you do whip out a pair of knives, right? So assailant attacks and I whip out some knives and I start doing all that stuff. You know what he's gonna do? It's real simple. Here's what he's gonna do. Now, that's if he has a weapon. What I'm getting at, and what my point is that you have to do the proper level of force at the right time. This is why I say do not threaten. Okay? If I'm threatening someone, they're going to react. If I'm prepared for them to react, that's a good thing. But if I'm threatening them, they know what I'm going to do already. Likewise, if someone's threatening me, I already know what they're going to do, because they just told me what they're going to do. So I'm going to use that to my advantage. If someone comes up to me, grabs my shirt, whatever, says they're going to punch me in the face. Okay, boom! I'm going to go to the inside, I'm going to grab the hand, and I'm going to smash his face with either my fist, or, in this case, I've got my CKRT M16 in my hand that I can use as a Yawara stick. Vampire shows this a lot. Difference is that in this situation, I have not deployed the blade. Notice this? Okay? So if he's grabbing my shirt and I smash him in the face with the butt of my M16 folder, I hit him with a stick, didn't I? He's not even sure what I hit him with. He knows I hit him with something. But there's a chance that he'll back off then, because he just got hit with something. Now then, same situation, I handle it with the same weapon, except now I flip the blade. No matter what I do to him with this blade, now we've gone up in the escalation of force. You know what else? We also went up in the escalation of force without need. So, if this situation were to go to court, we'll be dealing with that little scenario in a minute. If this scenario were to go to court, what would they say? They would say, okay, I'm much more likely to get away without having any punitive damages by me smashing him in the face with the butt of the M16 than if I were to flick the blade and stab him in the neck. Maybe I kill him, maybe I don't. Either way, it's going to now be considered attempted murder because I did this. See the difference here? Folders are a great self-defense tool. The reason why I say that is because I can make the decision. I can have this weapon in my hand already, but not have the blade out and deal with this other situation. I can go into a Heaven 6 with this folder using the butt of it as a koppel or a Yawara stick or as a Kupitan or whatever the hell you want to call it, and I still have a weapon. It's a self-defense one. This is very easily to say, look, he was using it defensively. You know why it's easy for them to say that I was using it defensively? Because the blade wasn't out. Once the blade's out, playtime's over. Somebody's gonna die. Because the fact of the matter is, once someone realizes that they're in mortal danger, there's one of two things that's going to happen. They're either going to run away or they're going to run towards you. If they run towards you, they will kill you. Or try to anyway. You cannot put a knife, a blade that's out, you can't put it back down. The only way to put that blade back down is after the situation is completely over. Usually that means one of you is dead. To further this situation, let me ask you a question. If I've got my Glock 21 pointed right at you, maybe there's a round in the chamber, maybe there's not. Let me ask you a question. What now? What now? If I put this gun down, now what? Is it a good idea for me at this point, after I pointed the gun at somebody, for me to put this gun down now? No. Because now they've got a chance of getting their gun or their weapon. There is no de-escalation at that point. That's why I say don't threaten. That's why I put out the video. I'll buy a gun to scare them. You don't buy a gun to scare somebody. Look, if I bring my hand back to my holster, I'm firing. End of story. Game over. If I grab my knife, if it's a folder, maybe I'll use it as a Yawara stick. I got my little Smith & Wesson that I just got a little while ago. Maybe I'll use that as a Yawara stick. Or maybe I'll need to deploy the little blade. That's the good thing about a folder. Or maybe I'm in the woods and I'm carrying my ultimate knife. Right? Look, once this thing's out, there is no putting away the blade on this one, is there? So once I grab the handle of this, I have to use it, right? See the difference? That's what I'm getting at. There is no de-escalation. Once a weapon is out, there is no de-escalation until something has happened horribly, horribly wrong. If it goes that far, you're going to go to jail. You're going to go to court. That's just that simple. Now, whether your jail stay is a couple of days, a couple of weeks, months, year, or if they find you guilty, could be the rest of your life. Or it could be the life that they let you have. See the difference here? That's what self-defense means. There's all kinds of cool stuff out there. There's all kinds of cool gear. You know, you can use a flashlight, you know, to distract, or you can use whatever. When it really comes down to it, to tools or weapons that can really save your butt, there's two that come to mind. Knife, gun. Not necessarily in that order. Depends on how good you are with either. And that's where we're at. So the point of this is that by the time you flick that blade, somebody's dying. You have to have that in your head. When you pull your gun, somebody's dying. Maybe it's you, maybe it's them. But you better make damn sure that you do everything by the letter. Because you will have to account for all of your actions from the time that you flick the blade and then on forward. In fact, you'll have to account for your actions before then. But not like you will when you flick your blade. You don't threaten. Threatening wastes time that you do not have. If you threaten, you're telling your opponent what you're going to do. A lot of the time, the easiest way to sort out the self-defense situation, I've said it before and I'll say it again, is to make your assailant understand that you are more trouble than you are worth. That's it. That's all you have to do. Maybe all I need to use is the back end of my knife. Maybe I don't even need to flip my knife open. Ever think there's a reason why I teach the pommel strikes? Yeah, there's a reason for that. Reason why I teach the pommel strikes? I don't need to do that. Now with my neck knife, if I have to pull that, the blade's already out. There is no putting the blade back. I can hide it so that maybe my opponent doesn't see it. But it being a fixed blade, even then, I can't put that blade down because that blade's out. With a folder, I don't have to bring the blade out unless I need to. Something else that we're going to need to talk about too, when we're talking about knives, never carry just one. Even if you don't want to use one in each hand, which I'm not sure why you wouldn't. Always have more than one. In fact, if you can get away with it, I would carry 3 to 5. Yeah. When I leave the house, typically, I carry at least 2. Honestly, if I'm going into a shady area, I'm going to carry at least 3, 5. I've carried up to 9 knives on me at once because I was in a shady area. You know why? Because if you find yourself in a knife fight, it's going to happen fast. And things happen to equipment. Maybe your lock fails. Maybe your trusty knife that you've trusted for so many years, all of a sudden you go to flick it and the lock fails. Uh-oh. If that's your only blade, guess what? The other guy just saw you flick a blade. But now you don't have one. What, you're going to de-escalate the situation now, especially when you're unarmed? Uh-oh. Here's where a second blade would help you out. Now, wouldn't you agree? How about a cheap $15 knife that performs decently well? How about you have 3 or 4 of these? Why would you have 3 or 4 of them? Reason why it's cheap is because if you stab it in somebody's leg and you can't get it back out, you don't want to have to worry about trying to pull this thing out of the guy's leg. He's trying to punch you in the head. Or maybe he's got his own knife. Maybe he's trying to stab you as you're trying to get your blade out of his leg. No, you're going to leave the blade in there. You're going to grab for the next one. You're going to flick it. And then you're going to get back to work, trying to neutralize the threat. That's what it is. Now you can talk about guns and knives and all this, and I'll use this and I'll use that and all this blah 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 blah. When it comes down to it, you have to be able to de-escalate the force. That's about what I got to say on that. I hope that this video helps de-muddy some of the waters for you. Because I'll tell you, that's the way it goes down. No matter what they're doing, no matter what you're doing, this is how you stay alive. If you can't do this, if you can't deal with this mentally, then let me ask you 2 questions. Once again, what are you willing to kill for? What are you willing to die for? Those 2 things. If you can't answer either one of those, then you need to find out long before you pick up a gun. Because if you don't know that, when it comes to that time, when you have that gun on somebody and you're getting ready to fire and you don't know what you're willing to kill that person for, you're going to flinch. And when you flinch, I'm going to do that. No hesitation. Because as soon as I see a weapon, I am not screwing around. When I draw, and if you're going to practice your draw, do it with a dry fire, okay? No round in the chamber, no magazine, okay? If you're going to practice dry firing, practice it this way. From your holster location, bring it out. That's simple. As soon as you bring it out, you're firing. Boom. There is no hesitation. If you do this and then you pause and you make sure that you get your proper sight picture and all that crap, if they're within 15 yards or less, they're going to be on top of you before you even pull your trigger. Point and shoot accuracy at that point is going to help you immensely. So you, boom, that simple, that fast. If you can't deal with that, don't carry. You're not doing me a favor. You're not doing yourself a favor, and you sure as hell aren't doing your family a favor. Because if you pull your weapon and you hesitate for 1 split second, it's over. You will die. And now the other guy, your assailant, that you pulled your gun on, now he's mad. And what he was willing to do beforehand, oh, he's willing to do a lot more than that. This video is not for the faint of heart. It's not. Hope I was able to help you out. Catch you on the next one. I appreciate your comments. I appreciate your views. I appreciate your time. Defend your homes wisely.